Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you the definitive guide to a very popular product called Trusox. Now, Trusox are one of really the only performance-enhancing socks currently out there on the market, and every single day I get tons and tons of questions about them simply because they've become very, very popular. They have some new colors out, which I wanted to show you in today's video, but instead of just showing you the colors, I thought I would make more or less a guide about everything you should possibly need to know about Trusox, such as what they actually do, the varieties they come in, how to wear a pair of Trusox, and ultimately whether or not it's a product that you should consider for yourself based on what I'm going to be telling you in today's video. So if you are interested in a pair of Trusox and you want to know more about them, this is the video for you. So with that being said, let's get right into the review. The main question that I get asked regarding Trusox is what do they actually do and how do they actually work? It's one of those things that a lot of people don't seem to understand about this particular product. Now, in order to explain how Trusox can benefit your performance, I have to explain what the performance problems are with a standard pair of socks. Now, what's great about a high quality pair of cotton socks, for example, is that they provide a really nice fit and they are extremely comfortable. You get that little bit of extra cushion, and again, comfort is half the battle. The problem lies in that they don't provide the responsive feel that you're supposed to be getting from your footwear. And when you're dealing with soccer cleats, they're designed to have a nice tight fit and be as responsive as possible. Give you that one-to-one sensation where the second you're pushing off and accelerating, you're going to get that same responsive feel from your footwear. The problem is with a pair of cotton socks, you have a little bit of slipperiness to it. So it doesn't necessarily grip your foot all that well, and it doesn't necessarily grip the inside of the shoe all that well. If you can imagine sliding across a hardwood floor in a pair of socks, that is to a certain extent what's happening on the inside of your shoes, whether it be soccer cleats or any other form of footwear. Now, what Trusox does to improve upon that and eliminate that extra slippage is they've applied these non-slip applications to the outside and inside of the sock. So you can see all these little gray rectangles that run across the entire bottom of the foot as well as the back of the heel, like I said, on both the outside as well as on the inside of the socks. These little applications grip your skin and also grip the inside of your shoe, eliminating any kind of extra slippage that you would normally have, which results in an extremely responsive sensation from your footwear. It's one of those things that once you try it out, it's actually going to surprise you at how dramatic a difference it actually makes in how responsive and how much extra stability you're going to get from your footwear just by eliminating that little bit of extra slippage that you would normally have with a standard pair of socks. Another advantage to having these non-slip applications on the socks themselves is that because you're eliminating any kind of slippage on the inside of the shoe, that loss of friction that you would normally have is going to result in a more comfortable playing experience overall, because the main reason why you get blisters in your shoes is because your foot is sliding around ever so slightly, leading to that extra friction, which eventually results in a blister. So again, Trusox not only make for better performance, better responsiveness from your footwear, that one-to-one sensation when you're pushing off, that instant reaction, you're going to get that from Trusox, where like I said, with a standard pair of cotton socks that don't feature any kind of non-slip applications like these ones do, you're going to get that extra slippage, and like I said, you're just not going to get as responsive a feel. So it may seem like a really small thing, but once you actually try it out, it really will surprise you at how effective it is in terms of providing an extremely responsive feel inside of your shoes. Now, if you are planning on ordering a pair of Trusox, you should know that they come in three main varieties. The first is a low-cut ankle length, the second is a mid-calf crew length, and the third is a full-length soccer sock, which goes all the way up to your knee. So depending on the situation, depending on how you're going to be using your Trusox, there is a variety for you. Now, the low-cut ankle variation doesn't have a lot of variety to it. It only comes in white. It's available in sizes medium and large, and only comes in the thin variation. So again, this is something that's more or less ideal for practice if you don't necessarily like wearing longer socks, and probably going to be the least popular variation of all the Trusox, although they do have the same performance benefits as the more popular models, so please keep that in mind. The one in the middle here, the crew length variation, is by far the most popular amongst average players as well as professional players, simply because they come in all kinds of different colors. You can wear them either for practice or in game. I'm going to show you guys how to wear these socks in game a little bit later in the video. They're available in sizes small, medium, and large. If you're confused about sizing, there will be sizing charts if you follow the buy it now links on my website. So again, if you are confused about what size to get, just follow the sizing charts and it'll tell you exactly which variation that you need depending on your foot size. They're available in thin as well as cushioned variations, something that I will talk about and explain a little bit later in today's video. And they're available in 11 different colors, which I have on the ground in front of me. So white, black, navy blue, royal blue, sky blue, purple, maroon, red, orange, yellow, and green, as you guys can see. Now the final variation is the full length soccer sock length of Trusox. So they're available in both white and black colors. Not any of the other 11 colors that are featured on the ground in front of me. So if you do have team socks that are white or black, depending on how strict your uniform policies are, you can just get away with wearing a standard full-length pair of Trusox, which would be ideal if you ask me. It's definitely the easier way of going about doing things, but again, that just really depends on the situation. But what's great about these is they're available, like I said, in white or black, size medium or large. They don't come in small, only the crew length one does. And they're only available in the cushioned variation. Again, something we'll talk about in just a second. They all have the same retail price, so price is really not going to vary between any of these three variations, so please keep that in mind. And again, it really just depends on your situation in terms of which is going to be the best fit for you, whether you're buying one pair or multiple pairs. So again, these are the varieties of Trusox that they come in. Pick depending on your situation, and you're going to have a good experience. So, thin versus cushioned, which one do I recommend? Honestly, it really does depend on preference. The green pair that I have right here is the thin variation. You can see it's a little bit thinner across the top of the foot as well as the base of the foot, whereas the cushioned version, which is what I have here in orange, is a lot more padded. So there definitely is a pretty significant difference between the two, but again, it really depends on what your preferences are. If you prefer thinner socks, then the thinner variation is probably the better choice, whereas if you prefer something with more of a cushion feel, then the cushion variation is probably a better choice. Please keep in mind that the only difference between the thin and cushion variation is the foot area. The actual crew length area where it goes up your calf, that part of the sock does not change whatsoever. It's only the foot part. So again, if you were kind of concerned about that, don't be. The only difference, like I said, is the foot. If there's anything that I can tell you that perhaps would sway your decision, I think that the cushioned version is more popular. I find them to be a little bit more comfortable personally, and I generally am a fan of thinner socks. But again, the cushioned ones just to me seem a little bit more comfortable. And I did actually have the opportunity to speak with the owner of Trusox, who does a lot of obviously the dealing to the professional players, and he said that the majority of the professional players choose the cushioned variation as well. So again, if that makes any difference in your decision, the cushion variation is more popular amongst most consumers as well as professional players. But again, at the end of the day, it depends on what your preferences are when it comes to socks. If you like thinner socks, go for the thin variation. If you like cushion socks, go for the cushion variation. Obviously, Trusox offer performance benefits that you would want to have in-game. Now, the problem here is that how do you actually wear Trusox in-game? Because like I mentioned, the Trusox have to be in direct contact with your skin and in direct contact with the inside of the shoe in order to perform optimally. And when you have to wear team socks in a game, match the rest of your team, that can become a problem. Now, there is a trick to wearing Trusox in-game with your team socks. It does require some slight modification that I'm going to show you in today's video. But before we get into that modification, I want to talk about what the rules and regulations are in your particular league. Now, if you're a professional player playing in the Premier League, for example, the rules are very, very strictly enforced, meaning that, for example, if my team has red socks, if I want to wear Trusox with my team's red socks, those Trusox have to be red, and the tape that I'm using to join the two together also has to be red. It has to have the same appearance as everybody else, give or take, let's say. Now, For a lot of leagues, that is going to be the case, but in my area at least, it's not a rule that is strictly enforced. If my team has blue socks and I want to wear white Trusox with them, so the bottom ankle portion of the sock is white instead of blue, it's really no big deal. Referees aren't going to bother you. And the tape, whether it's black, white, blue, red, again, it's not a rule that I would say is strictly enforced in my area at least. So if you're stressed out about having Trusox that match your team socks, I wouldn't be too worried about it unless you know that it is a rule that is very, very strictly enforced. But it's nice that they do offer them in 11 different colors, so you shouldn't have too much trouble finding a color of Trusox that match your team socks, unless of course you have a really oddly colored team. So we have, for example here, a white pair of team socks and a white pair of Trusox. In order for these two things to go together, what you're essentially going to have to do is modify your team socks. A lot of people would kind of classify this as destroying them, and to a certain extent it is, but it's kind of what you have to do if you want to wear Trusox with your team socks. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a pair of scissors, and you're essentially going to cut off the foot portion of the sock. So I've already done it right here off camera. So you're basically going to go from a standard pair of socks to a foot piece, and basically the part that goes over your ankle and your calf. This foot piece is essentially garbage. You don't need it anymore. And all you really need is this part right here, because this is obviously the part that you're going to see and what's going to be matching the rest of your team. Now, obviously, when you cut it, you're going to be left with very frayed edges here. What you can do if you want to kind of extend the longevity of this little sleeve you've created is you can fold it inside and kind of have somebody stitch it all the way around, or stitch it yourself if that's something that you know how to do. It's just going to preserve those edges and allow this sleeve to last a little bit longer. But like I said, you have to cut off the foot portion and be left with these two pieces. So you have a sleeve, which is going to act as the visible part of your team socks, and then of course your Trusox, which are going to come together with tape that I'm going to show you in just a second. So in order to get ready, you're going to need a couple of different things. The first is your Trusox, which I already have on, as you can see. You're going to need your sleeve that you just created, and you're also going to need some sock tape. If you guys are wondering where you can get sock tape, click the link down below in the description to the Trusox review page on my website. On that page, you'll find links for all the different varieties of Trusox, as well as some different sock tapes in a variety of colors. You can pick up a roll, a good size roll, for about $5 in white, black, blue, yellow, green, whatever color you may need. So you can match your team colors if that is something that you want to do. So again, that link is down below in the description if you're wondering on where you can find some sock tape, because it's one of those things that not everybody sells. So again, you got your Trusox already on, and again, you want to leave it completely exposed, so you don't have anything between the Trusox and your foot. It's got to be one-to-one in order to have optimal performance from this particular product. Next, you want to take your sleeve and you want to basically just put it on your leg exactly as a normal pair of socks would kind of cover. So again, I've pulled them up, kind of adjust them to where you really like them to be. And you can see again, it's left the true sock completely exposed at the bottom, but it has the appearance of regular team socks. You can see I just have a standard uncut pair on my other foot right here. Next, you're going to take your tape and you're essentially just going to cover up this little seam that is left over. You don't necessarily have to do this, but it is something that's going to look a little bit better, and it's going to prevent this sleeve from sliding around on you. So you're just going to take your tape and you're basically just going to cover it up. You don't want to make it too tight unless that is something that you like the feel of. And once I've done that, just going to tear the tape and you're pretty much good to go. You essentially have a seamless pair of socks. Obviously, I have white Trusox with white tape with a white sleeve, so everything looks right. And I'm going to show you guys with some shoes on just to see exactly what it looks like. But that's essentially all you have to do if you want to wear your Trusox in game. All right, just wanted to give you guys a look at the Trusox Modification once they're actually on with a pair of shoes. So again, it has the appearance of a standard pair of socks. You have your white tape to cover up the seam, and then some of the Trusox are left exposed at the back of the shoe. Depending on how high up you wear this sleeve, more or less of the Trusox is going to be left exposed. This is how I would wear it personally, but again, it depends on what you like the look of and what you like the feel of, and that's really all that matters when you're modifying your socks to wear with Trusox in game. So please keep that in mind. And then here on my left foot, you can see this is the unmodified sock. Side by side, there definitely is a difference between the two, but it's not a big enough difference to where a referee is going to bother you in game for wearing a different pair of socks at the base as opposed to just wearing a standard pair of socks in game. So the final question remains, are Trusox worth it? For For those that don't know, they do have a retail price of $40 US, making them very, very expensive socks. If you check out the review page on my website, linked down below in the description, there will be buy it now links to where you can pick up the Trusox for just below their $40 retail price if you are looking to save yourself a bit of money. But for a lot of people, they're going to look at $40 socks and just say, no way, these aren't for me, no matter how good they perform. And if that's you, then Trusox may not be something that you want to consider. But if you're somebody that has some issues with the fit of your shoes, you want the feel to improve a little bit in terms of comfort, if you find your foot slides around on the inside of the shoe a little bit more than you might like, Trusox might be something to consider. If you find yourself frequently getting blisters, again, from slippage on the inside of your shoes, Trusox are definitely worth considering. Or if you just want a more performance-oriented, responsive feel from your footwear, then Trusox are definitely for you. Like I said, the difference in feel between standard socks and Trusox is very, very surprising. It's not one of those things that's a gimmick by any means. It really is extremely noticeable, and it actually does make a difference. For those that watch my channel diligently, you know that I am very, very honest with my reviews. I'm not somebody who kind of plays into gimmicks. I'm not going to say that a certain product is best for a certain playing style or position, but honestly, when it comes to products that can honestly have a huge impact on your performance, something like Trusox makes a huge difference in how your shoes will feel in a very, very positive way. So if all of that sounds good to you, then yes, Trusox are definitely worth checking out. So that's it for my review and definitive guide on everything you need to know about Trusox. I realize this video was perhaps a little bit long for a single pair of socks, but like I said, everything is covered, and if you have any questions, just rewatch the video and I'm sure those questions will be answered. If there are questions that weren't answered in the video, be sure to leave those down below in the comment section and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you are interested in a pair of Trusox for yourself, again, the link is down below in the description to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links to all the different varieties, all the different colors, as well as the sock tape that I mentioned earlier. So again, be sure to go ahead and check that out if you're interested in a pair for yourself. If you found this video enjoyable and helpful, be sure to support it with a like. That would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.